Welcome back to the news today. This is a one-on-one. With the security situation heating up along Israel's borders, the Israeli army has been propelled into the spotlight in the international media and at home. But it is not only a question of security. This is also a fight for minority representation and equal rights within the Israeli society. Our guest tonight, Shadi Halul, can testify to that as the American Christian community leader and the head of the Christian IDF Officers Forum. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming.
Good evening, Lucy.
Shadi, try to explain to me, because as an Israeli Arab, this puts you
I should correct you from the beginning. As Israeli, a
Christian
Aramean, which is Aramaic, not Arab.
This puts you in one way or another in a problem?
Well, it puts us under threats, of course, under persecutions, I can say as well, sometimes from Arab leaders and from Arab supporters of pan-Arabists and extreme jihadists and Islamists inside the country, of course. But it is important to understand that we have no choice. This is our country. This is where we born, and this is what we need to defend. We live here with the Jews together, and we can see that if ISIS and all the extremists will conquer this land, we will face the same destiny together, the same destiny like Jews. So we must support this country and defend it and explain the coexistence here, the beautiful coexistence between all the populations without any difference between Jews, Muslims, Aramaic Christians that live here, because I don't call them Arab Christians, I call them Aramaic Christians. And this is what we got just 1 month ago under the recognition of the Interior Minister, Gideon Saar, for the Aramaic nationality of the Christian population, Eastern Christian population, that belong to different denominations in Israeli state, like the Aramaic Syriac Maronite Church and Orthodox and Catholic Church.
You don't think that this situation puts you even in a more complicated situation than you already is? You don't think that in one way or another, maybe the Israeli government is using you to separate you from other minorities in Israel?
It's totally false, actually, thoughts to think that Israel is separating us. I think we should say thank you, Israel, for recognizing our Aramaic identity that was, let's say, trying to be erased and wiped out since the Arab conquest into the Middle East in the 7th century. For example, today, the Jews and the Israel were the first people and the first country in the world to recognize us and accept our rights for recognition as Aramaic population. In Arab countries, they try to wipe out our population. In Iraq and in Syria, they are selling our women for 260 shekel, which is about $60 in the markets of ISIS, and they are crucifying our men. They are hijacking our ladies and kids. For what? For being only Christians. Here we are having a freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of everything. And let me tell you something. It's not the country divided us. This is a big fake that we call Arabism is not true. Look in Lebanon, they call themselves Maronites. They call themselves Shiites. They call themselves Sunnis. Look at Syria, they call themselves Alawites. They call Sunnis, Shiite, Alawites, Yazidis, Kurds, Christians, Aramaic population, Syriac, which is Aramaic. It is already divided. So this pan-Arabism, it was a big fake that 150 years ago just was created by some thinkers in order to cover the identities, the indigenous identities of the Middle East.
If you're living here in Israel and you're taking part, you're a minority, just like the Muslim minority,
Yeah.
just like the Catholic Christian minority, just like any other minority in Israel. Do you feel in one way or another that maybe you're not getting, because if we will ask like the Druze, they will say, or the Muslim, or even the Christian Catholic Arabs who are living here, they will tell you that yes, in one way or another, they are living here a very good life, even better than they can live maybe in Syria or in Lebanon or in Iraq, for example. But they are feeling that they are discriminated in their own country because you are part of the country, but sometimes the country looks at you in a different way.
Well, let me tell you, Lucy, if you can tell me one country in this world that is perfect, just name it. I will accept your saying.
No
but
country
I
is
don't
perfect.
find any country in the world that is perfect, and I can tell you more than this. Israel is the best country for pluralism and accepting and recognizing other minorities. Watch this, what I'm going to tell you. Arabs are allowed to preserve their Arabic culture and language. Christians today are recognized as Aramaic and can learn their Aramaic history and language under the Israeli state. And other minorities, Cherkessians, Druze, are the same. Tell me one country from these democratic states around the world that allow minorities to preserve their original identities in their democratic state. Tell me where you can find this.
I'm not talking about
Now, of course, I say you have some type maybe of feeling of discrimination, but as I said, nothing is perfect, and you can always, let's say, make it better. How we can make it better? This is the question. If you want to make and improve things, you must understand the threats of the Jewish population here. We need to serve in the army, which is the milk point for the Israeli society.
You speak Arabic, right?
I speak Arabic, I speak Aramaic, I speak Hebrew, I speak English.
So,
whatever you want.
Most of the Armenians speak
Aramaic. Aramaeans.
Armenians are speaking Arabic?
Most of them, no, actually speaking Portuguese.
Portuguese?
Because
They're coming from...
migrated from Lebanon and Syria to South America, and
So
they speak
you feel really, in one way or another, the community feels really connected to Israel. But do you feel when it's a problem for Israeli Muslim Arabs and Israeli Christian Catholics who are living in Israel, Arabs, who find it very hard to go and fight Palestinians? Or to go and fight for
but I'm not speaking on behalf of them. My interview here is to let the audience understand that I, myself, as representative for the Christian Aramaic population in Israel, I would love to be part of this state and support it and defend it, because the other choice means that Christian identity will be wiped out even in Israel if this state will be weakened. This is what I care about. The Muslims, nobody asked them to go to the army. That's why nobody forced them to go to the army. But they can go and do civil service.
Yes,
and do whatever public service for the community service. If you don't want to fight your brother, Palestinian brother, at least do something for the country that allows you a good life here. Do something for your community. At least something, very little, without fighting your brother. So these are only excuses. I don't accept these excuses. If you don't want to serve the army, even for a Christian who think he is an Arab, go do civil service.
Very interesting talk, Mr. Shadi Halul. Thank you very much for this. Just amazing to see the many faces of Israel and how people don't know a lot about what is happening in this country.
Fushun Bashlomo is in Aramaic, which is stay in peace.
Yes. How do you say that?
Fushun Bashlomo.
Fushun Bashlomo.
Yes.
Fushun Bashlomo. Shadi Halul, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you, our viewers, for being with us tonight. Tomorrow we will be here at the same time, same place, from the Jaffa Port, Israel. Have a great day.